Welcome to Mediworld Middle East. This is Irshad. We have with us a special guest today. She is the senior advisor for R&D in Hayat Biotech. So we'll have some quick questions with her. Ma'am, being a senior advisor in the R&D department of the sector, first question comes to our mind is how crucial is R&D for life sciences and advancement in particularly when it comes to patient care, etc.
So R&D is very crucial and extremely important for advancing the care, the healthcare or the science. Actually, if you look around you, everything is a result of R&D. So the treatment, the technology, the diagnostic tools, even the process, the protocols. So if you go back, it is all R&D. And if you want to advance the healthcare and you want to advance the science, you need to invest in R&D locally, not only bringing a ready-made vaccine or drug or technology from outside the country, but if we invested in our R&D, we'll be able to build a capacity locally. We'll be able also to study the diseases that are very unique to our population or more of a problem to our nation, and we'll focus on those diseases, how to prevent it, how to minimize the negative impacts, and how to make our own people life at a better quality. So R&D is very critical to healthcare.
Yeah, and as you said before, I mean, UAE was a consumer state before, but now we are thinking about production, and when it comes to production, there will be discussions of R&D. How do you think, is it that the COVID actually impacted, or it was way before COVID, the country was already thinking about R&D or, productions?
The country was thinking about manufacturing, okay? However, during the pandemic, it was very clear to everyone the urgency to build that capacity. So that's why there was a manufacturing site built during COVID, because it was very clear to everyone that there will be a global vaccine shortage, there will be a global shortage in medication, in diagnostic tools, in different things. Probably we as a UAE, due to many reasons, we didn't suffer from that shortage, but it was very clear to us that we need some sort of self-sufficiency. And also in pandemic or when you are dealing with emerging infectious disease, there is an urgency to produce a vaccine or drug or diagnostic tool. You cannot wait for another pharmaceutical to produce it, and you wait till you manage to get it. Plus, you want, if you will, for example, if you will produce a vaccine, you should have enough quantity to vaccinate large number of people at the same time. And if you don't have that self-sufficiency, it's almost impossible to do it in a timely manner. So it's very important to have build capacity locally. And the way we are looking at it, it will not only be self-sufficiency for UAE, but actually for the region, and will be able to produce vaccines and drugs for other countries. And that building that capacity also will help equity and easy access to vaccine or treatment or diagnostic tools.
Yeah. So when it comes to R&D, what are your focuses today in the Hayat Biotech? What are your focuses literally in?
Yes, thank you for this question. Of course, Hayat Biotech, it's a national company. or a national pharmaceutical company, and our strategy align with UAE strategy. So we are focusing on the same disease that is the focus of the health authorities in UAE, specifically the chronic diseases that exist in the country. Of course, because we started with the pandemic or born during the pandemic, infectious disease and emerging infectious disease is a priority for us.
Yeah, okay. So can you share some insights into the challenges and opportunities when you were looking for some R&D process, what you have mentioned now?
Okay. So to establish R&D, it is something doable but not easy. And there are a lot of challenges. One of the challenges is for R&D, talented people. It is not easy to attract talent. So to resolve this issue or solve it, we are looking at two parts. We are looking at our local talents, how we can help them develop and start to work in our R&D. We are also looking at attracting talented scientists and engineers and doctors from other parts of the world. So this is the human resources is one of the major issue with R&D. The second challenge, R&D time consuming.
Yeah.
And consume a lot of resources. So you need people and you need authority who will be patient with you, because drug discovery and vaccine discovery takes a long time. Yes, during COVID, things moved very quickly because all the resources moved to COVID. And financial resources, collaboration between academia and industry, so everything was mobilized for COVID. But outside the pandemic, mobilizing all these resources at the same time will not be that easy. And you need to have some sort of a system where you could have utilize the resources, financial and non-financial, so you could come up with the right drug or the right treatment or right vaccine. The third challenge, you can start a great R&D, but to maintain it, again, you will need the technology, you will need the human resources, you need the fund. So there is a lot of challenges, but I think with our collaboration with different stakeholders, I think we'll be able to overcome those challenges.
So finally, when it comes to clinical trials, because when you are into R&D and you have developed something, you need someone to be tested or for it to come into practice.
Yes.
So what is the strength of UAE in terms of clinical trials? Are they, advanced, or are they in a developing stage, or how you are getting the help from the government and the people as well?
So I think UAE and specifically Abu Dhabi, there are different stakeholders, the government, the health authorities, the industry, the academia, all are working as one network. And this is an advantage that we have here. I think the population diversity in UAE will make pharmaceutical think that probably it is the ideal place to conduct clinical trials. UAE, it's a home for over 200 nationalities, and this type of diversity in terms of different ethnic group, different nationality, for a researcher, extremely important, because usually when you conduct any research, you have to conduct it in Africa and Asia and US and Europe, in different countries. Otherwise your result will not be generalizable. But in UAE, all these ethnic groups, you will be able to see it in one place. plus our healthcare infrastructure. We have an excellent healthcare infrastructure, and this will reassure everyone that will provide the best care for the volunteers. Electronic medical records, another factor that's extremely important, and in Abu Dhabi, the electronic medical records are all connected under one platform, which is called Malafi, and this is rarely you will see any country with such an advanced platform. And of course, for clinical trials, you need such data because you have to monitor your volunteers throughout the study, and probably that will extend for 1 or 2 years, depends on the clinical trials. And the volunteer will not always come to you. The volunteers might go to different types of a clinic, so you have to monitor them, you have to monitor their safety. So these are, and plus our government and our health authority, very supportive. We have an excellent regulation for clinical trials, and I think in the near future we'll be able to attract many clinical trials in Abu Dhabi and in UAE.
Thank you. That's all for today, and thank you for joining.
Thank you.
with us,
Thank you so
Dr.
much.
Nawal.